Hi, thanks for watching my earlier videos. My today's topic is, can I lead a normal life with diabetes? As a diabetic, trying to live with type 2 diabetes on a daily basis can be quite challenging, but you can still lead a near normal life. Diet and lifestyle are the key components in healthy living with diabetes. I'm Dr. Paula Goel, adolescent physician and diabetologist at Faith Clinic, Mumbai. The complications of type 2 diabetes are multifold and affects all systems of the body, including heart, kidneys, brain, vision, weakened immune system, leading to repeated respiratory and other infections in the body. Poorly controlled blood glucose levels can increase your chances of developing diabetic complications. Long-standing and poorly controlled diabetes is associated with the narrowing of the smaller blood vessels of the heart, leading to angina and other cardiac complications. Angina may present with chest pain. Blood pressure may also be associated with diabetes. Kidneys are affected, leading to changes in the renal parameters and damage in the long run. Repeated urinary tract infections may lead to kidney damage due to ascending infections. Brain involvement in diabetes can lead to stroke. Loss of vision and retinal problems occur with poor control of diabetes. The weakened immune system leads to respiratory infections, including tuberculosis and other bacterial, viral, and fungal infections of the lungs and other parts of the body. The diabetic foot is another common complication, leading to gangrene and loss of blood supply to the toes, finally resulting in auto-amputation of the toes. Fungal infections are also common. The tingling of hands and legs may occur due to vitamin B12 deficiency and nerve involvement. Hence, diabetics not only affects you physically but can affect all areas of your life, right from your emotions and interpersonal relationships, your work, your daily driving, traveling, right up to intimate relationships with your spouse or partner. For any diabetic, the key is to maintain the blood sugar level as close as possible to the normal range, which allows the complications to be kept in check. So what is the normal range? The random blood sugar should be 200 milligrams or more to be labeled as a diabetic. So in a normal person, it should be below 200 milligrams per dl. For fasting, the glucose level should be up to above 126 milligrams per dl in a diabetic. The normal is below 100 milligrams per dl, and in a pre-diabetic between 100 to 125 milligrams per dl. For a 2 hours postprandial level, for a diabetic, the level should be above 200 milligrams per dl. In normal, it should be below 140 milligrams per dl, and in a pre-diabetic, it should be between 140 to 199 milligrams per dl. Spikes in the blood sugar will occur following meals and will level off usually, and the levels will be the lowest in the early mornings. High levels of glucose present in the blood over a sustained period of time will end up damaging the blood vessels. The number of times per day the blood sugar levels have to be measured depends entirely on the diabetics. For type 1 diabetics, the blood sugar levels should be checked before every meal, sometimes as often as 5 times per day, and the insulin dose should be adjusted accordingly. For type 2 diabetics, the blood sugar level should be checked monthly, and the HbA1c should be checked once in 3 months. The HbA1c test shows the average blood glucose levels over a sustained period of 3 months. HbA1c is the glycated hemoglobin, and more of it is produced in the body by high blood glucose levels. The HbA1c levels in diabetics is 6.5% or higher. For people with diabetes, a good control is between 6.5 to 6.9%, fair control is between 7 to 7.9%, and poor control is for people more than 8%. Increasing HbA1c levels indicate a greater risk of complications. Now, uncontrolled diabetes with any other health conditions or complications can impair the ability to drive. Safety while driving is to be maintained. However, hypoglycemia or low sugar may be at risk in the diabetes. If there are a large number of complications, then driving can become a health hazard. The highest risk of hypoglycemia include people on insulin, sulfonylureas or glycides. An exception to this is if you are put on insulin for a temporary period of 3 months or less and your doctor does not regard you as a high risk of severe hypoglycemia. So what are the precautions to take? So test your blood glucose levels within 2 hours of each journey. Test your blood sugar levels 2 hours while driving. Treatment of hypoglycemia should be within reach for every drive. The complications may include, but are not limited to, the eye problems, nerve problems, that is neuropathy, or circulation problems, and may pose a problem in driving. For employment, the status of diabetes has to be informed. Some employers will perceive a job as being a danger to your condition, and this may further complicate an application. Some professions may be more suitable depending upon your diabetes control and also the advice from your healthcare professionals. Similarly, many people with good blood sugar level may prefer fixed working hours in order to maintain their stability. Some people with diabetes seek a job will also look for freedom to inject insulin or test their blood glucose while at work. So no matter what profession you are seeking to undertake, it is worth checking the suitability of the role both with the prospective employer and with your doctor. If you are going to be doing shift duty and are dependent on insulin, then you should be very self-disciplined. You can take a break to administer insulin as the shift work can change, the meal times can change and sleeping patterns can change. It can also be a very stressful method of employment and some employers will object to the injection at work. So it is advisable to have fixed working hours, regular physical exercise rather than desk work, flexibility of the injection, and self-monitoring at work. For anyone with diabetes, experiencing negative emotions such as anger, frustration, hopelessness, fear, guilt, and shame is very common. According to the NICE 2005 criteria, when a person is first diagnosed with diabetes, they will often go through a similar psychological stages as that of bereavement, that is, disbelief, denial, anger, and depression. In fact, many people fluctuate between these different stages for many years, getting stuck at denial or between parameters like anger, bargaining, and depression. The higher HbA1c levels have also been found to be associated with physical symptoms including hyperglycemic score, mood swings including high levels of displeasure, depression, tension, and fatigue, and also with worse general sense of well-being. Diet plays a very important role. People who use low-carb diet have achieved weight loss, improved HbA1c, reduced medications, and type 2 diabetes remission. While traveling, people with diabetes should plan their travel and holidays in advance and seek advice when necessary. Diet, exercise, and medication are all key factors that should be considered. With a little planning, traveling, whether it is on the train, plane, or by car, isn't a problem. How you prepare for a trip will depend whether you're going, where you are going, and what you are going to be doing. For instance, the type of food you will be eating on the holiday strongly affects how you prepare. If you are going to an active adventure, you need to work out what influences this extra exercise will have on your blood sugar level. Using insulin abroad isn't such an issue. If you are flying, you will require a doctor's letter to take insulin and/or syringes on board your flight. Patients should find out what types and strengths of insulin are available in the area in which they will be traveling and refer to the relevant pharmaceutical company. Insulin should be kept out of direct sunlight and should be kept cool. The insulin should never be allowed to freeze. Therefore, when traveling by air, insulin should always be carried in the hand luggage. Insulin may be absorbed faster in the warmer climates. Regular glucose monitoring is important to allow any adjustment in dose to be made safely. While traveling, be prepared makes your trip very hassle-free. A few simple precautions can ensure that you are able to cope should the unexpected happen. For that reason, you should plan to take with you twice as much of insulin, syringes or pens, needles or tablets as will be needed. If traveling with someone else, split the amount between each passenger's hand luggage just in case one bag is lost. A cool bag for storing insulin. Blood glucose monitoring equipment along with adequate supplies of strips, lancets and spare battery for the meter. High altitude, heat, humidity can sometimes affect meters and test strips. Patients should be advised to beware of the false readings. Dextrose tablets, Hypostop, glucagon injection and keto sticks if available should be carried with you. And most important is a diabetes identity card should also be available. Carbohydrate in the hand luggage to cover any traveling delays is necessary. Patients should be advised to carry extra carbohydrate in the form of sandwiches, fruits, cereal bars, etc. Letter from doctor or hospital team diabetes with a contact phone number and address confirming the need to carry needles and syringes and a basic first aid box. A list of all current medications. For example, a copy of up-to-date, the repeated prescription request should be carried with you. If sickness or diarrhea develops in diabetic individuals, insulin or tablets should never be stopped, even if solid foods cannot be tolerated. The carbohydrate intake should be maintained. Monitoring of blood glucose is essential. Urine should be tested for ketones or an early sign of decompensation. If sickness or diarrhea persists, medical advice should be sought. Keep all your medical supplies with you. We hope that with the above pointers, you will lead a normal life like anyone else. This is Dr. Paula Goyal signing off. Hope you found this information useful. Please put your comments in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Thank you.